Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the grand final of the NGK Sparkplugs Esports Cup. My name is Connery Maddock. I'm joined by the wonderful Thomas Beanett here today on the commentary, and we'll also have a special guest from NGK Sparkplugs. Andreas Mai will be speaking to him a little bit later on. But Thomas, it's crunch time now. It's the grand final of the NGK Sparkplugs Esports Cup. It's at the Nordschleife as well. You could not ask for a better stage for this final round.
Certainly not. I mean, 60 minutes of racing on this more than 20 kilometers long racetrack. It will be hard. It will be tough. Best circumstances for today.
Absolutely. You can see on your screens the process for today. Of course, we'll be getting into qualifying, hopefully at 25 to 8 Central European time. It's a pretty long qualifying session as well, due to the drivers just needing that extra bit of time to get themselves their laps in. But we'll be heading into an hour-long race at the Nordschleife, which is certainly a very, very big challenge, especially considering there might be the element of that fuel saving coming into play.
Yeah, we will see. I heard some rumors that they need to, yeah.
Yeah, we certainly have heard some things from the drivers. But before we get into that entire situation, we have Andreas Mai here from NGK Sparkplugs, the title sponsor of this championship. Andreas, it's absolutely fantastic to have you here on the stream. What was the initial intention for NGK Sparkplugs to get themselves involved in esports and sim racing?
Yeah, first of all, welcome everybody to the stream. Yeah, the idea was to reach a new target group, and as it is our first NGK Sparkplug Esports Cup, just to open it to everybody, that everybody can race and get the chance to win the race. We have 4,000 drivers, sim racers on the leaderboard, and from 24 countries like Europe, Brasilia, New Zealand, Mexico, Israel, so a very big open round. And as I'm responsible for the EMEA region, it's also very good for us that we have so many countries represented. And this is a very great success for us at the moment, and looking forward to the final.
Yeah, I've certainly had a lot of fun commentating on the four qualification rounds. These guys, you know, they can be pretty crazy with their racing, but it's the good kind of crazy, right? That's what we want to see out there. We want to see these esports races doing battle and giving us entertainment, just like motorsports gives us entertainment in the real world as well. But Andreas, in terms of the races so far this season, which one's been your favorite?
Yeah, my favorite is really Dubai, because it's first race. It's also in Middle East. I was thrilling. It was a thrilling race for me to just watch it, and your commentating was very great. And and the last race, Nogaro, was also very, very fun, because not for everybody, but you see a lot of crashes, and all the race was very spectacular for me, yeah. But the first race was one of my favorites, yeah.
Yeah, that one was pretty fun, wasn't it, Thomas?
Yes,
I know you didn't get to commentate on it, but surely you were watching it and saw this good battle.
Yeah, it was some kind of my personal wish. When we talked the first time, I said we need to have Dubai in it, because it's a great racetrack, and really you could see it. There were so much different lines, and the drivers were really hyped to go into the overtakes.
Yeah, and hopefully they'll be the same here today. I mean, there's plenty of opportunities to get that done at the Nordschleife. Of course, with our situation here, we've got prizes on offer for the top three. All the points for everything that's come before has been completely wiped out. So therefore, the only race that matters now is this race here at the Nordschleife. And if you're not in that top three, you're going home with nothing.
No, probably with lots of experience. Or?
Well, lots of experience, lots of fun. Yeah, we can talk about that all day long. But
I know what you mean. You want to have the prizes in the end. So, and obviously, going to Nordschleife with the VIP ticket, having the helicopter flights, that's something special. You almost never get in an esports event.
Yeah, absolutely. It's some very unique prizes, and of course, thank you very much to NGK Sparkplugs for putting up those prizes as well, because it's good to see, especially that top experience where you get the helicopter flight and everything at the Nordschleife. That must be crazy for whoever wins that, Andreas.
Yeah. Yeah, we choose Nordschleife because it's one of the hardest tracks for me, and it's a very old racetrack. But on the other hand, it's very hard to drive, and so the guys are this evening very happy with the weather, because you don't know what weather you will have in the at the Nordschleife or at the Nürburgring. Sometimes you have snow, sometimes you have rain, and today they are very lucky with the weather. But I think it's a very big challenge for everybody, and yeah, I wish that we have a fair race.
It's going to be very reflective of today, because it's been quite warm outside here in Munich. So so yeah, it's good to see things reflected in the sim world. But before we dive into qualifying here, let's have a look at our highlights from our final qualification rounds at Nogaro.
Round number 4 of the championship about to get itself underway here from Nogaro. And we are off and away and heading down in towards turn number 1 now. Nico Schernel getting himself a good start from pole position. Jens Fielder trying to fend off Rasmus Salo through turn number 1 as well. Sebastian Reeh and Petr Gomez are fighting it out side by side behind, and they've both made contact. Sebastian Reeh is involved in that. He doesn't drop down through the field, but there's a lot of carnage back here. Oh my word, it seems like everyone. You can see all that big incident has still very much stacked up everyone else behind. Someone's going for the send all the way around the outside. That was Christoph Nagy. He might have an opportunity here on the brakes in towards turn 7. The inside is indeed open. He can sling it down and in. And does Grossman have anything to try and defend? He'll try and get the speed off the corner with the cut back, as Montgomery's still continuing to fight this one out door to door in towards turn number 9 now. The inside line will give Montgomery the advantage here. Nagy, out of all of this, is trying to capitalize, and that's 2 positions lost now, and that should be the end of it. Nico Schernel heads his way across the line to take the race win for the first race of the NGK Spark Plugs Esports Cup here at Nogaro. But it is Jan Korta from pole position, benefiting from the reverse grip with Nick Schmeck on that front row as well. We are racing for the final time here at Nogaro. Good start from Korta from pole position. Schmeck is able to slot in second place as well. It's all a very calm affair, and perhaps losing a bit of time as a result. Oh no, that was a big send from Kilman. Might be able to score himself a top 5 at the end of the day, should things go his way. A big look to the inside, draws it alongside. Cernel sends it, and he makes it competitive coming off the corner as well. Not that much Fielder can do about this one, except to hope and pray he can maintain the inside for the next corner. Getting the speed on the way down in towards the left-hander. Careful with the contact, boys, as Cernel sent it down and in through turn number 9. In towards turn number 10, side by side for P4 between Zabda and Cernel. Fielder stalking this one as well, but Cernel sending it down the inside. There's the response from Zabda, straight back underneath in that final race of the season, and who unfortunately will have to go home. As Marius Zabda, big moment of oversteer coming off the corner there, and that's Cernel gaining the position through the final couple of corners here, but it's not a sequence that's conducive to that. It is Jan Courtois that takes the race win here for race number 2 at our final race of the qualification procedure for the NGK Esports Cup in a couple of weeks' time, when we'll get our final race at the Nordschleife.
Well, that was a little bit of a refresher of what was going on there at Nogaro for round number 4 of the qualification season. It's a bit of a weird one, isn't it, Thomas? Because we don't usually have a format like this. We have, usually have a normal season, normal points. We crown a champion at the end with regards to the points throughout the season.
Yes, yes.
This we don't. We just used the regular season for qualifying. We had the top 4 in each race day qualify. We had the top 16 in points of everyone else qualify. And then it just comes down to this final race.
Yeah, I think it sounds more complicated than it is in the end. So you have this 4 qualifiers per race, and then you do all the points down there. But honestly, I think it was a very, very fair way to select the drivers who compete now in the final.
Yeah, I think so too, and it allowed us to meet some drivers that we perhaps don't always see at the very, very top level of RaceRoom Esports, because every single round the drivers had to qualify through a leaderboard. I think it was something I remember the discussion. We had about 3,000 drivers, Andreas, attempt to qualify across each of the 4 qualification races. That must be impressive for NGK Sparkplugs.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very impressive. So many people want to qualify. And so many people also that don't qualify because they need to be on the racetrack to finish the round. And a lot of people tried. And for each race, we have more than 1,000 drivers that want to qualify. And the leaderboard was about that. The drivers that bring in a time that it's somehow reachable to be. In the leaderboard, it's for around 900,000 people, or 900 to 1,000 people for every race.
Yeah.
So this is very great for us to see that so many people try to be at each race and try to qualify. Yeah.
Yeah, it was great to see everyone getting themselves involved, because it wasn't just these professional sim races that we see on RaceRoom and other sims. It was people from the community trying to get themselves involved, and that's an important thing for us as well, because the community is what builds a simulator and what's that get themselves involved. It was great to see those guys get out there and try and see what they're made of up against some really quick drivers.
Yeah, honestly, to some kind you get bored to see always Moritz Löhner winning in the end, right? So it's very cool. I mean, the prices are not like you're getting 5,000 euro for the win. You get a very great experience on the Nordschleife in a 24 hours race, and that's something you have to commit to. And in the end, you find the second guard, we can say, but they are all great drivers. So I'm very hyped to see new faces today.
Yeah, absolutely, and we might see a new face that's won a championship on RaceRoom. That would be potentially the situation here at the end of the day, because it's going to be very clear whoever wins the race is the champion. Like there's no other thing to think about. We don't have to break out the calculators and try and see in the spreadsheets and try and see where everyone is. It's a simple case of you win everything. Yeah. It's absolutely crazy, and with that experience, with these prizes, it might mean, Andreas, that we see a lot of drivers actually be a little bit more aggressive over the course of this event. We had some pretty fair racing in the first few qualification rounds. Of course, that last round, you saw the highlights. There was a big incident towards the very back, but I'm hoping that these guys are competitive, but at least they're fair, and we don't have a big incident.
Yeah. I also wish everybody a fair race, that we don't have, I don't know, at Flugplatz, the first, I don't know, crashes or something, that we have a fair race, and that everybody takes a look at each other. But I also want to see this fight and the battle, and looking forward to the Nordschleife today. Yeah.
I'm honestly more scared about Arenberg than of
Flugplatz, right? I would say,
Yeah, it's going to be a very sketchy first lap here today. Let's just say that, because the drivers know that track position is the name of the game here. You don't necessarily want to be at the front, though. We'll discuss more about this during the race, but of course we have this whole fuel-saving situation now. The fuel tanks on these AMG Mercedes GT3s, they don't quite comfortably get you towards that arrow mark. So we'll be seeing a lot of fuel shenanigans here today, lots of strategy. So it might even all come down to that final lap, that drag race down the Dottinger at the final time, that might decide this entire thing.
Yeah, I think there are two possible strategies. First one is a splash and dash. That means one driver is really trying to get everything out of his fuel, going into pits for exactly one lap, and then tries to get everything out of the tires and the fuel. I think it could not work out in the end. So probably they will try to fuel save and fuel save and fuel save, try not to let the leader run away with the race, and then go for this last sprint. And then the biggest question is, did they save enough, or do they run out of fuel at that sprint?
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, we do have a little bit of a track guide to take you through. So this is an example of how to negotiate the Nürburgring Nordschleife. here we go then. This is going to be a long one, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, we are not on the combined layout this time around. We are, of course, on the sort of quote-unquote regular layout here at the Nordschleife as you head through turn 1 in through the hatch and back section, Thomas. This is going to be where everyone's all double file on the start of the race on that first lap. Surviving this section for the first time is going to be so important.
Especially now when they're entering these assets, they really have to sort themselves out. I for myself had the chance to get a taxi drive twice, and especially this phase, and you're not prepared mentally when you're on the real Nordschleife for this few corners, and your stomach already goes mad. I don't know. You were driving there as well, right?
I had a chance to be on the co-driver seat Mitsubishi Evo, and for me it was like every time you need to brake now, and I thought it's over now.
Yeah, especially now.
Yeah.
You have this long straight, it goes downwards in this little valley, and then you go over Schwedenkreuz into Arenberg, and here you're around 160 kilometers per hour, and 100 meter in front of Arenberg, the driver slams the brake, and you think, all right, that's it, okay, I'm done.
Yeah, it's crazy. And then you've got, of course, this long round down the hill. You just keep descending, just picking up speed before you get in towards the compression. When you bottom out the bottom of the hill, you feel it in your stomach when you're on the track, and then you're slamming on the brakes in towards Ardenarfost, which is, faster left, right, and then of course you get it slowed down even more into an even tighter chicane at the very end. One thing about this track which is particularly tricky for these drivers is the curbs. You don't want to ride them too much. They upset the car a little bit too much.
Yeah, probably you don't want to do it overall. We have this open setup thing today, so I'm quite curious if there are drivers who really tried to pull the wings as much as possible down, and then they certainly never ever want to touch the curb.
Yeah, absolutely. Just winding your way through, getting towards the towards the end of the first half of the lap, continuing to descend here. Of course, it's a track of two halves. One's on the decline, one's on the incline. As you head your way through towards those fast right-handers in towards hit miss, or miss, whichever way around it is. I can never quite know. Down in towards the very bottom of the circuit, the bottom of the valley. This is the slowest, coming up to the slowest portion on this racetrack, and it feels like you're going through here like a turtle compared to the rest of the circuit.
But that's the party area.
Yeah.
If you once were at a 24-hour race, you need to visit Breitscheid, because it's just an awesome party.
Yeah.
Did you ever visit Breitscheid at 24 hours race?
Yeah.
Awesome.
I was there, I don't know, 10 times at the 24-hour race, and the first time I think I was 17 years old, and the typical camping, beer, and just have a fire and a grill, and it's always amazing. Also when the sun goes down, you see the brakes. The brakes are. You see the brakes.
The brake lights.
The brake lights, or the. If you see the brakes in the night, and it's awesome.
And coming up to this section, of course, in English it's called Bravery Corner, and you do have to be very, very brave to carry as much speed as possible through that section. Otherwise, you're going to get two tires into the grass, and you're going to find an Armco barrier very quickly, and then you wind things down into the next right-hander. But there's lots of slipstream opportunities here at this circuit. You're climbing up to one of the most famous corners, if not the famous corner on the racetrack, up in towards the carousel, get it in towards that inside, use that camber to your advantage to carry the speed all the way around. That's always fun in any car that can actually take the inside of the carousel. It's a great joy to go through that.
Yeah, and now if you once were on the track live, you get into the section which is called Hohe Acht. And in game, you never ever realized how steep that is. I thought I'm gonna fall off the car, right at the exhaust.
It really is. And of course, you're coming in towards sort of the final third of the lap here. And so this is a section of track that not many people know, because not many people even get to this point because they crashed somewhere else on the circuit. But hopefully we will be seeing drivers able to negotiate the full lap here today. I certainly struggle with it in my simulator experiences here. But Boris Lohner, who recorded this track guide, doing very well. He should, because he is indeed a professional driver here on RaceRoom. But this is a fantastic section of circuit. It's It's very, very flowing. The undulations in the track are really, really incredible, and it's quite tricky to get right. You just need to have your line absolutely perfect through these apexes, and well, going into the jump.
Honestly, it's one of my favorite parts of this of the track. I love all the smooth corners around then until you approach ice curve, because I think it's so ridiculous. You're in your flow, and next time you find yourself in the barrier. Going straight into Stefan Belloves, who sets the world record for a very long time in this track.
Yeah, 6 minutes and 11 seconds.
It's
Stefan Belloves.
totally
I can remember one tip that they gave me. Our race driver Carsten Quadder, he said to me, "Don't eat anything beforehand." That was the best.
I always thought when I came out of Navy, eating a little bit could help, and I was wrong. I was totally wrong.
And of course, coming out of Galgenkopf now, heading down the Dongerhöhe, which is going to be your very, very big slipstream zone here today. If the drivers are close at the very end of the race for the top positions here, you might see 3 wide potentially coming down this section of circuit. It's so long you can probably just take out a book and try and read as you're waiting for the next braking zone coming down in towards the final couple of corners. So you start to descend hill here, and then you think, okay, I've got this little S section up ahead. I'm going to have to be on the brakes. Picking a braking point is very, very tricky through here, because you're basically turning while braking as well in some instances. So it's important to get the car slowed down through that. I've seen so many incidents coming down into that corner with drivers being too optimistic on the brakes, and in towards the final corner, hug that inside wall as much as possible, and across the line, that's a lap of the Nürburgring Nordschleife.
So there's not much time left, I heard. So we really we could have a look into the entry list, and then we really need to jump into the qualifying, because it's time, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll see the drivers that qualified by finishing in the top 4 of each event. Those are on the left-hand side. And then you have your qualified drivers from the point standings on the right-hand side. So you see like Sir Philip Drees, Petr Pliska, Elisa Denia. You've got Alexander Grindelwald from that first race at Dubai, of course. Of course, those drivers on the left have technically had an easier route through into this grand final, because they haven't had to do every single race, especially those top 4 that qualified in race number 1. They just did race 1, and then they're here today in this final race. So it's going to be interesting to see them sort of break off the rust, so to speak, and get themselves involved.
I'm not sure if they have to break off the rust. I mean, Petr Pliska basically drove every race in the ADAC Community Monday and nearly won everything. Attila Dina drove in ADAC Community Monday, DTM, and ADAC Esports Championship. So those drivers actually, took some space to breathe and get out of all the qualification stuff from NGK and went straight into the final.
And Andreas, just one final question for you. What are your expectations coming into this race? Are you hoping that we're going to have a really fun race? I mean, I guess everyone's hoping that we're going to have a fun race, but what are your expectations?
Yeah, our expectations was that, as you said, to have fun. And that we reach so many people, that our expectations were very. We really don't know if we reach really that people, that we have 4,000 sim racers on the leaderboard. That was not the expectation. The expectation was that we reach somehow some hundreds or maybe, and the first I can remember the first leaderboard, and I saw really 909 people qualified with a good time, and that was for me very cool feedback for us for NGK Spark Plug.
Yeah, I'm super excited to head straight into this one. We've got ourselves qualifying for the final round of the NGK Spark Plugs Esports Cup coming up right about now. Let's head straight into it.
So, Connery, here we are now. Most of the track are gone for the warm-up lap, the out lap. Guys are approaching now Döttinger Höhe, and then things are going hot.
Yeah, absolutely. Pretty long outlap here at the Nordschleife, of course. There's no opportunity to do the cut through and get yourself back out on circuit if you were doing the combined layout, of course. You actually do have to do the full thing before you can get yourself a qualifying lap started here. You can see the track map.
Which is kind of difficult, right? That they need to manage their tires.
Yeah, absolutely. And so you do have to moderate your pace somewhat on that outlap. You can't just go full tire warming mode because your tires will already be warm by the end, of the lap. So you don't need to necessarily warm up the tires or warm up the brakes in that situation. We're on board with Philip Drace, who we expect to be pretty quick around here. He seems to be one of those drivers that we call Nürburgring specialists, for example. He may not be at a hugely top level with any other circuits or with in any other series, but when it comes to the Nordschleife, these guys are the guys that are the ones to look for.
I'm quite unsure. I followed a little bit the chat and Discord, and for some kind they feared Atiladina because they think he's quite a specialist. They are quite happy that Yannick Munt didn't qualify because they expected him to be very, very quick. They said Yannick has around 2,700 hours of Nordschleife experience. So actually that is quite awkward for Yannick that he's not here. Yeah, but let's see. They are now on their lap, and yeah, maybe we can have a comparison for Sector 1 as soon as possible.
Yeah, we'll definitely keep on top of things here. We're riding on board with Attila Dinia, or Odina, as is the correct pronunciation of that. I've probably been butchering that for the entire start of the season, but we'll get things right here as he's heading his way through on his lap right now. And, well, we were talking about in the preview, in the pre-show, excuse me, about how these drivers will potentially only get themselves 2 qualifying laps, and those are got to be clean qualifying laps as well. You cannot have an off-track, you cannot have an invalid lap for any reason. Those have to be clean laps. So for some drivers, they might not even get a valid lap in. They'll have to start at the back of the grid.
Yeah, I think that's a little bit of risk management here. So you cannot really go for full risk, you cannot go for full pace, even though you certainly want to start in front row, because if you're not confident enough, you probably will mess up the lap, especially here around, I don't know, Forst. You see, they get just a little bit into understeer, and if they clip the grass, the ground is gone. Yeah,
absolutely. You can just get the car very, very unsettled, and all of a sudden you're heading in towards Namco barrier. You've got your lap invalid, so it's a very, very big and very dangerous situation, especially when damage is in effect as well. So even when you do continue on and try and get onto that second lap, you might be carrying a bit of damage and therefore won't be able to get the fastest time possible. But for Pliska, as we were running on board with him for a couple of moments, I mean, would you say that it's beneficial to have cars out there with you? Of course, there's different philosophies when it comes to that. Some drivers like running in their own little bits of space so that they can focus on the lap time ahead, but some other drivers would prefer to have a little bit of help with the tow from the drivers ahead. And, well, Pliska just getting the back end a little bit out there through the valley, the bottom of the valley. But yeah, I mean, for Pliska, he's got a car a little bit further down the roads, not within the slipstream zone at the moment. He's got a car that's drafting off of him behind, in fact, so they're going to get the big benefit out of that when we get to those long full throttle sections.
As you said, it depends highly on what the driver prefers, especially on the Nordschleife when everything is quite complicated and the braking zones are not that defined as you certainly see it on normal Grand Prix tracks. Yeah, you need to be able to work with the pressure, and you need to be able to work with your own mind, because you need to set what you're actually able to do. And if you find yourself behind a slightly slower car, maybe the slipstream doesn't help at all.
Yeah, exactly. All that benefit that you're getting down the straights is going to be negated once you get to any corners if the car ahead of you isn't on the pace. But we're on board with Yuval Rosen, who is one of the Israeli drivers in this event. Of course, on the first lap of qualifying, we tend to not really pay that much attention to the colours of the sector times here. But for Yuval Rosen, at least he's got 2 sector times in. He's got a very clean lap so far, so the timer is still ticking for him. Now he's in that final third of the track, coming up in towards that carousel. Still with that car ahead of him, so still benefiting from the slipstream. He doesn't seem to have caught that car in a bad place coming through these corners. So this is looking like a very, very tidy lap so far from Rosen, but we're coming into one of the tougher sections to get right.
Yuval Rosen was the fastest overall in Sector 1. So by far, I have to say, it's Cody Latkowski who's the second one. But Cody pulled a much better second sector. So I think Latkowski is around 1 second faster than Yuval Rosen. But in the end, yeah, the question is, how did they manage to do Sector 3? So if Cody now messed up to a little bit, and you see it here on Wipperman, it's so easy. You just clip once the curb and your full lap time is gone. You can lose a lot of time, and funnily we're talking about 700ths both are the gap between the both.
Yeah, and when you consider such a long lap time as well, usually we see the field within a second, for example. We probably won't be seeing that today, I'll be completely honest, but that's just due to how long the track is. So even if we get people within 2 seconds or 3 seconds, that is still relatively close.
Yes,
in the grand scheme of things, because it's 3-4 times as long as a regular circuit. So we're watching Latkowski at the moment. He's going to be the 4th driver to come across the line to finish his initial flying lap. There he is out there, just laser focused on the track ahead of him, of course, and a very nice background as well, I will say.
Oh, but now he messed up badly. That was there. I don't know how much time he lost there, but look at his wheel. It moves so much. I cannot believe that he's doing that. I mean, Cody is what is it, Gran Turismo World Champion. So he comes basically from another platform, and I think from where he comes from, and I really do love Gran Turismo, I have to say that, but if you compare it to the simulations, it's so different. It's
a different style of racing between those games and these simulators. I mean, people like to make the distinction. I think it's a little bit elitist to say that just because someone prefers one game that it's bad and whatever. But everyone has their preferences. But these simulator games tend to be just that, much harder than your standard console games, for example. But Latkowski heading his way through the final couple of corners. Now we see the first couple of lap times being set, straight up towards the top of the order. What's Latkowski's lap time going to be? He was pretty rapid in practice, and across the line now to go fastest. So it's provisional pole position for Latkowski. It's a 6 minute 30.4 for him, and that is considerably ahead of Philipp Drees there in second place for the moment, over a second faster.
His 6:34 is just an awesome lap time. So we didn't see much faster, so it could work out. I think that's the reason why he already escaped.
Yep.
Some of the guys take a second chance, try to improve themselves, which I cannot really believe. I mean, even Mariusz Zapter is going on a 6:36. He was already pushing his tires hard, so probably he will have a hard time to get a little bit better.
Yeah, it's tough here because obviously you have that tire wear in effect here for these qualifying events, and with such a long lap time, you're really going to take the best of the tires in terms of the tire life out on that first lap. So it is, I agree, there's going to be a big struggle for anyone to really improve on their initial times here. Of course, this second lap does give those that had an invalid lap for the first lap to be able to get themselves onto the starting grid just that little bit higher. But for now, we're on board with Petr Pliska at the moment, and down in 5th place in qualifying for the moment, about 1.7 seconds off the leader. I do like how close the sort of if we ignore P1 for now, I do like how close everyone else is between Dinja, Karten, Drees, Pliska, Rosen, all within the same little region of time, shall we say. So it should be a good race for second place. They just got to, worry about not letting Latkowski get away at the front once we get to this race start.
Also, we have to mention that not everyone has set yet a lap time. So Alex Mosin, Sinan Gunay, Michi Geisler, Nick Schment, Bence Farkas, Rasmus Salo, Wille Krebi, and Bo Dijon couldn't manage to bring a valid lap time here. And already Grevi and Dixon are on an invalid lap, so they everything what they can do right now is practicing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can never have enough practice at the Nordschleife, can you? It's just one of those circuits that takes years and years and years and thousands of hours to absolutely master. There are people who pull off times on this circuit that I just don't know how it's done, to be honest. It is absolutely crazy. You know, those that run in sort of VLN-type leagues and things like that run this circuit as a big endurance race. It's absolutely crazy for the types of stints that those drivers are able to manage. We are racing for an hour here today once we get into racing mode, so it is quite a long stint with regards to usual RaceRoom competitions. So we'll have to see how that affects the drivers, because tyre management is going to be pretty important as well over the course of the event, because even if you do want to come down in for a splash and dash, you don't necessarily want to be taking those tyres because it just takes too much time.
When we already said that the strategy is quite difficult. This 1 hour race bring the drivers in a position where a boxing stop is not really a valid option, and we had it here in the studio. We let Moritz Luna drive a lap, and he was saying he kinda were at 12.4 liters per round, and we know from inside information that you have to be around 11.9 liter per round. So you actually have to save around a full liter per lap.
Yeah, it is very, very tough to do.
While being under pressure.
Exactly. You might be trying to fight for track position as well. And, there's some drivers that might have saved the bulk of their fuel early on in the event, and then they want to press forward in the latter part of the stints because they have that spare margin to be able to get that done. Obviously, there's also the certain worry that we might get an extra lap potentially sometimes with certain situations. So then if we do have an unexpected extra lap, because, the race ends when time expires and then the next time they come across the line. So if they just cross the line and then time expires, that's going to be big trouble for many people.
Yes. Yeah, they really have to focus now. Sebastian Reeh is trying to get as much slipstream as possible. Probably he's searching for some tweaks on his lap. Petr Bliska still is on a good lap. He's actually improving in two sectors, both are shown as green. The only one who can really jump forward is Yuval Rosen, because he has this purple sector.
Oh, Bliska, hold on to it. Oh, that's not gone at all well. He takes the panic toe back towards the pit lane, and that is Petr Bliska's qualifying over and done with. It just goes to show how easy you can make that sort of mistake, especially when you're trying to push for that lap time. Yeah,
Petr Bliska is... I don't know how happy he is with position 5. I mean, in the end, it's not a bad position. A 632 is... I mean, if you watch Nico or Cody Latkowski with a 630, it's quite a time, because it seems like there are many other drivers who can get as close as he is, but in the end, 632 is a good time.
Yeah, indeed it is. It's not too bad in the grand scheme of things. However, he was on for a better lap. He could have just started this race just that little bit higher on the grid, which might end up mattering quite a lot, especially if things are close towards the very end. We are looking at Rosen. He went actually even faster than Nasovsky through Sector 1, so Rosen seems to be very, very competent, very capable taking that car through the first sector, because you said that was the same thing on his first lap as well, that Rosen was very fast through the first third of the lap, basically.
Yeah, but then if you get into the small carousel, like we say, and then you mess it up, and it's quite easy to mess it up, because you have this banking which goes outside, and you have a little bit of understeer. Yeah, you probably lose that small 100s. Yuval Rosen is right now in the lead. So let's see. Now he's crossing the line, and can he improve? Yeah, he can only improve by 1 position.
Yeah, and he gained about 1.5 seconds in that
Wow.
final timing split. So yeah, that's a big shame. I mean, if he gained a couple more tenths of a second, he'd be ahead of Philip Drace and then up into towards P4. So that was all of the attempts there from Rosen. We're still winding the rest of this qualifying session to a close. We're on board with Sebastian Reeh, who's currently down in P11. 4.2 seconds off your leader. Typically, you'd say that's quite a large gap, but here at the Nordschleife, it certainly is not, shall we say. But Sebastian Reeh, he'll be hoping he can get himself inside the top 10. And for a lot of these drivers, the race win might not necessarily be the goal here. It would be get in those prize-paying positions, get up in towards third place, for example. That might be the best that they hope for. To recap the prizes, though, first place gets 2 VIP tickets to the 24-hour race at the Nürburgring 2022 with entry to the SX Lounge, which is absolutely fantastic. We have a €450 coupon for second place for simracingstore.com. And of course, third place gets 1 JBL Quantum 1 headset.
To some kind, I also believe, and Sebastian Reeh is able to improve into position 8. I think to some kind, it's also the prestige to be in this race, because on RaceRoom, I think it's around 3 years, 2.5, 3 years when there was this last highly competitive Nordschleife race. So for some drivers like Bence, Farkas, Steph Kremers, Alexander Grünwald, they really want to show their skill here on the track, because you normally never have the chance to drive in such a competitive field on the Nordschleife.
Is Senyan Güney, who's one of our Turkish drivers, I believe. So if you want a good example of how multinational this competition can be, then certainly one of those drivers to look towards. As he goes faster, still P12 though on the starting grid, so solidly mid-pack there for Güney, as we now have Nick Schmenk, who's down in P19, certainly hoping that he's able to improve, but you see through that second sector time, he's about 2 seconds off, so it doesn't look like this is going to be a fantastic lap time for Schmenk, but you never know, he might have a great finish to this lap, and he's able to gain a bunch of time over his closest competitors. I think Steph Kremers is the driver ahead of him at the moment.
Let's have a look into it. I mean, it's just 2-1, it's 2/10. He could possibly do it. Question is how much slower he really was in Sector 2. Difficult now to judge how good he really is, since he's just driving in a straight lane on the river. So
it's not that hard, just a foot to the floor, right?
Yeah, but you need to have your wheel in a grip, so it doesn't start shaking with the force feedback. But the real struggle on this third sector is here, Hohenrhein chicane, because the braking point is so late, and it's such a heavy braking point, and then you're not decelerating to like 80 km/h. When the car hits 120, you slam the throttle and go straight forward. That's just impressive. Sebastian Reeh, on his time, he improved to, what was it?
Well, he got himself the lap in, and well, it was Nick Schmenk actually. So it was P50. He got himself up to P15.
Yeah, that's right.
So he actually gained about 5 seconds on that lap. So that's just the margins that you're looking at here at the Nordschleife. Gain 5 seconds, gain 5 spots, basically, in this situation. We're watching Bence Farkas heading his way towards the very final moments of his lap. He's on for a personal best as well. So P21 at the moment. We've got less than a minute left in this qualifying session for the finale of the NGK Sparkplugs Esports Cup. In towards the final corner goes Bence Farkas and drive to the line. What's the time going to be for Bence Farkas? Not great. He lost a lot of time, actually, in the back end of that lap. So he remains P21 despite the good start to his final qualification attempt. And with that, I think everyone, or at least most of everyone, is pretty much done. There we go. We got our qualifying results. So Liz, Cody Lutovsky starting on pole position with Alita Dinya in P2. You've got Leonard Carton starting P3 with Philip Drace in P4. Yuval Rosen will start in 5th place with Petr Pliska in 6th. Luciano Vitvo P7. Sebastian Reeh P8. Rasmus Salo and Alex Mosin will round out the top 10 here at Thomas. And we get to see the cycle through the rest of the field. This is going to be a crazy one.
I think so too. Question is, how good can they now go through Hatzenbach? Will we lose some drivers? Is the midfield maybe able to capitalize from mistakes from the front? So I think a good starting position is always extremely good. But I think on Nordschleife, you maybe doesn't have that big of an advantage.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a very strategic race from everyone involved. This is why I said in the pre-show, you don't necessarily want to be at the front because of that fuel-saving situation. You want to be back in the pack. You want to be getting slipstream off of drivers to be able to lift off the throttle coming down the straights to make sure that you can make the fuel numbers work. As drivers are taking themselves to the starting grid now, we have a maximum of 25 seconds before we get ourselves racing here for the final time in the NGK Sparkplugs Esports Cup. We're very thankful everyone's able to join us here on the multiple YouTube streams that we have going. It's been a fantastic season, and we hope that we get to see a fantastic race here at the Nordschleife. Here we go then. Drivers getting themselves ready. We've got Latovsky on pole position. Dinya also on that front row as well. Those engine notes rise, and we're off and away for the final time in the NGK Sparkplug Esports Cup here at the Nordschleife. Latovsky gets away well. Rita Dinya slides in ahead of Philip Drace and Leonard Kartin. They're going to fight side by side for P3 in behind Dinya here. We've got a few drive-through penalties for jump starts already. We'll get more on that a little bit later on, but the front couple of cars have got themselves away well. We've seen no big issues, at least in the front half of the field. So we're through Hatton back just fine. I think here, Thomas, you can just relax a little bit.
I think we can relax a little bit. Still, there is a huge gap after car number 10. So I'm questioning where are the rest of the cars. So did we maybe lose some, or was it just not loaded? Do you see there's a huge gap? I don't understand why. Still, it looks like Latkowski had just an incredibly good start.
Yeah, he got away well, and now he tries to run for the hills. Here's the onboard with Petr as he heads his way through, and well, he's got Yuval Rosen ahead of him, and sitting very, very comfortably inside the slipstream here as they head their way through and swinging their way in towards the into Schrodenkreuz and then down in towards Arenberg for the first time in this event. Here's the rear view for Leonard Karten, and you can see how close that Philip Drace is trying to pressure him at the moment. So lots of mind games being played at this very early stage. You have to wonder though if Drace is actually going to go for the move. He's attempting to get the overlap somewhere, but the thing is, he doesn't want to try and fight so hard and then lose the slipstream to those top two cars.
Oh, that was close. That was actually very close. They both have to slow down, and you can immediately see the consequences. All the cars behind them had to slow down as well. And I think the car third position behind him, they really struggled to get the car around. I don't know if it was because of this situation.
Yeah, it's a big chain reaction, isn't it? Once you have cars at the front of the train struggling, going slow, it backs everyone else up, and it can cause more issues further behind. We're on board with Philip Drace as he tries to chase down Karten, and well, he's hoping Karten doesn't make he's hoping he makes mistakes because he gets the position, but hoping he doesn't have an extended battle with him. Otherwise, Dina and Latovsky are off and away at the front.
They really need to stick their head out of trouble. They really need to keep on pushing, trying to get this slipstream, because what you said before the race is so important. They really need to save fuel, and the only chance to effectively save fuel is to stick into the slipstream, being able to lift and coast as early as possible while it's such a difficult corner. I remember when I learned Nordschleife, this was the corner that broke my neck all the time. Now side by side around the Kesselchen, it's just ridiculous. So close.
Drace and Karten having a fantastic little battle here. It is allowing Dina to get away in second place. So they've got to be very careful about this one, but Karten feeling the need now to try and reply to Drace here, get up in his right up in his rear bumper and try and find a place to pass. There's going to be a potential opportunity as they're the way through Bravery in a couple of moments. There's fighting going on behind as well between Vitvo and Rosen, so they're having an active side-by-side battle. Rosen still keeping himself in that
they cannot do that. They cannot do that. No. They backed off it and went into single file before Mutkurve. I really thought we would see someone flying now.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, it's bravery. You got to be brave even to go through that fast single file.
But there's a difference between brave and stupid, right?
I couldn't have said it better myself. But into the carousel then for the first time. Remember, everyone, we are still on the first lap here of this event with 4 minutes gone. as they swing their way through. And while Sebastian Reeh trying to press forwards in this situation, he's in the number 9 car, applying pressure to the back of Pliska. It's been a fantastic fight in those in that region of the racetrack. Vitvo certainly getting him stuck in. There's a slight little move towards the inside there through the right-hander, but nothing doing in that situation for this particular battle outside of the top 5. And you can see drivers just trying to get to the very edge of the track limits, as he's trying to get as much time out of the track as is possible. You got to be careful though.
Luciano Wittwood is quite close to Petr Pliska, and now there is a chance. Right before ice curve, you can probably try to stick your nose side by side to Pliska, and then Wittwood could make a move, but still here everyone seems to be very calm, and I question how do they have built their setups. I thought they would go for a very aggressive setup, since you really need to make sure that you are able to overtake after the Dinger Höhe, but there were some situations like Arenberg, like Kesselchen, when you see that all drivers have a very stable car and they didn't lose too much traction while being in slipstream. So I believe they really go for high wings.
Potentially. It's a game of trade-offs here, isn't it? You want to be, because there's such a variety of corners, there's no one good philosophy, shall we say. It's much more in terms of driver preference at that stage than it is. Big moment there for Luciano Wittwood, back end out. Good job to keep a hold of the car. You got to be careful about that though. You don't want to put too much energy, too much heat into these tires, and that will affect the tire wear a little bit later on. But we're on to that big, long straight now. The Dongaho for the first time. Here's Luciano Wittwood sitting inside of the slipstream of Yuval Rosen. Yuval Rosen, well, he won't be challenged just yet, and this is the plan, it seems, from Wittwood. It's just sit behind, get that fuel saving done. Now he's going to go towards driver's left-hand side to get this move done at the end of the straight and in towards Tiergarten. Here he comes, gets the overlap, half a car length, still not quite clear. They got to be so careful coming through here, but well, Rosen, or rather Wittwood, gets himself ahead.
That was quite a psychological win. He pushed Petr Pliska right on the grass. So I mean, Pliska had enough space to survive this, but in the end, he probably measured his chance to lose the car and said, all right, I am slotting in behind Wittwood because there are enough chances to get my position back. They just have to survive now Hatzenbach, and then probably right in front of Flugplatz, he could try to apply the same pressure.
And something I noticed as well is that Dino was about 1.2 seconds behind Tatovsky coming onto the Dongaho, and then all of a sudden he was 0.2 of a second behind because he was able to get that slipstream. So even if you're slightly outside a second here, coming onto that straight, you're still going to have the pull from the toe, and you're able to close right in. So Latowski's going to have to work on trying to pull his gap out a little bit further just so that he's safe from that. But again, we also have that fuel saving and the fuel number issue to concern ourselves with as well. Sebastian Reeh getting 2 tires out into the grass there, so dangerous.
There was a car completely in the grass, and that must feel so awkward because you literally have 0 grip, and you can see it here. They now go side by side to Schwedenkreuz. That is so difficult now to find the right braking point without even killing each other, but it seems like it works out. Car number 21, it's Sebastian Reeh, finds himself right in the chase now down to Fuchsröhre, and that is possibly another chance for him to go side by side. He really tries. Oh, don't go to the inside. That's so difficult.
Yeah, through that entire section, it's so sketchy, but the cooler heads will prevail, we'll say, and they'll keep things calm for now. If this was a final lap, for example, though, all bets are off with any move into anywhere.
Sure.
But we're on board with Nico Cernil, who had himself an interesting time at Nogaro. He was certainly getting aggressive with a good couple of drivers. Looks like he's been involved in something as well, as it does seem that there's a little bit of damage to the front end of that AMG Mercedes GT3. So he's been in the wars here. Still P15, which is solidly mid-pack, and it seems like he is keeping pace with Marius Abder ahead of him.
This is now just an emotional grind for him, because you can feel the damage in every single corner. And there's someone flying!
Someone in the wall, didn't quite see, was it Grunwald?
Cyril again, I think that's a consequence of what we saw before. And look, he's just not getting his rhythm back and just takes the guy behind him with him.
Yeah, it seemed like it was Grunwald that was the big spinner ahead, and then Cyril and Steph Kramers both had a bit of a problem trying to negotiate those corners there. Both of them out into the grass, both of them tagging the Armco barrier on the driver's left-hand side. That's going to just be more damage to these cars now, and these sorts of things just pile on top of each other. Little bits of extra damage you get here and there, just going to make the driver's life hell, shall we say. But we've got 10 minutes done now. Race bubbling along quite nicely. I am keeping an eye on the gap in terms of the things that are going on at the very front, because the thing that Dean needs to do, we're on board with him right now, is just keep up with Latovsky, and then he has that opportunity on the final lap to get the pass done, especially coming down the Dürngehoe.
That's not a question. How confident are you? I mean, the first few laps are probably the laps where you can just do whatever you want, but after you've completed the second lap, you know, a little bit contact between Leonard Carton and what is it? Leonard Carton and Lieutenant Whitworth. But after you completed the second lap, you know, every single lap will be just pain. It will be just pain. Your tires are pretty much gone. Yeah. So, and then you need to really find your strategy. Is it not probably better to take the lead as early as possible, because you know attacking will be nearly impossible after lap 4?
It's a big question.
Yeah, it's a big question, but you have to ask it.
The thing is, though, as with everything in motorsports, it's a balance, isn't it? It's like, and it's sometimes a gamble as well in some instances. Of course, Latovsky, he's going to have the toughest job of absolutely everyone getting the fuel in the right point, because he doesn't have anyone ahead of him that he's able to slipstream off of. So obviously there might be an element of he's trying to back off a little bit at this early stage. He's still so fast that he pulls the gap on everyone else, but he's just being a little bit more reserved perhaps, so that he can get some clear air fuel saving done and make sure he can get that car to the checkered flag. So but Dina, he's in, I think Dina is technically in the better spot at the moment. That's if I'm being completely honest, because he's not being pressured from behind. He's got Philip Chase, you know, about half a second to a second back. And
but don't count Philip Chase out.
Oh, a big look to the inside. That was Fab Passer ahead of him, I believe. Yes, it was in P18.
I mean, and so Philippot, he has nothing to lose right now. So the only thing he can lose is retiring the car right now, where you know, have your fun, do whatever you like, and I think by looks he has a great time.
Yeah, it certainly looks like that. But into the wall goes Philippau. You've given the kiss of the commentator there, Thomas. He said he was doing relatively okay, and then all of a sudden he goes into the wall, and now he's got Lucas Vollering behind him. But we go back towards the race leaders, because Dinya on this lap is so much closer to Latovsky ahead. This will be telling whether Dina goes for the move or he just sits behind and just lifts way out the throttle. I don't know if he can afford to, because Jace is also closed up on this lap as well. So this is going to be an interesting situation. Dina does go for the move. Driver's left-hand side at the end of the straight. Will Latovsky let him through? Pretty much. I mean, you can't risk going side by side down in towards this S's section. So new race leader, Attila Dinya, in towards the race lead. And now we've got Philip Drace, who's put in a good lap, and now he's on the back of this. So 3-car fight for the race lead in the early stages.
Well, should I tell you something? That looked more like a bicycle racing than motorsport.
Yeah.
He just let him pass. He said, all right, I get my head down into the slipstream. So I had my good time with the good tires, but now you have to take the pressure. You need to set up the pace. And all of the sudden, there was this drive-through penalty. It's probably one of those.
Yeah, there's also drive-through penalties to say. We completely forgot about that in the immediate aftermath of that race start. Some drivers did, unfortunately, jump the start. There was Bo Dixon getting himself past Steph Kramers there. Kramers seems like a nice lad, because he said after the one of the streams I had with him, he was like, oh, I'm very thankful that you commentated on me, and that I've heard you on so many other streams, and yeah, he was just so nice to me. So therefore, if you be nice to me, I think I can be a little bit biased towards you, right? I'm very easily bribable. Sure,
no, I don't think someone will take that negative. Do you know what? I think we should not count out Luciano Wittwurt and Leonard Carton.
Oh, Mosen. So Mosen had a jump start, and then while he's serving the drive-through penalty for the jump start, he got speeding in the pit lane. So he's got another drive-through penalty now.
Oh, come on. That's just, I don't know.
Unfortunate is what I'll say.
Unfortunate, it sounds a little bit weak for what happened here.
I like to give the benefit of the doubt, okay? But we're on board with Latowski. He was our early race leader. He got himself onto pole position. Now he finds himself in second place, but I don't think he needs to panic at this stage. And it doesn't look like he's panicking either. So you can see him on the right-hand side. He knows what the game is here. He knows how to win races like this. He's done many a lap around here, let's just say that. So drawing on all of that experience to eventually potentially go and try and win this one. But we're still a very, very long way before the end here. We've only got a quarter of the race done. There's still so much story to unfold.
Yeah, I think Latkovsky's way of driving shows so much confidence. I mean, driving right behind Dina, and we are talking about 3/10. He's not leaving a space where he knows, all right, I will always be in slipstream, he will not break out from me, but he's physically putting pressure on him, and that shows how confident Latkovsky is.
Yeah, lots and lots of confidence, and if you're Philip Dreis in this situation in third place, you just sit behind and just let them fight. You don't necessarily need to get yourself involved in this one, because we're still in the first couple of laps of the event. Still a long way to go. Still, we got to wait for this fuel situation to sort itself out as well. Why not just sit behind and just work on your own race and not worry too much about what's going on ahead? Of course, once we get into the final lap, that all changes. You want to be pressing forward as much as possible. But for right now, Dreis is doing the right thing, and he's just running his own race behind these guys.
Dina is taking another approach on nearly every single corner. He's trying to go for a very late apex. It seems like he's not trying to attack the corners as aggressive as he can, just to save every little percentage of his tire.
Yeah, because the tires are going to be a big thing. Here comes Latowski, then driver's left-hand side. Careful, you want to get single file for the next corner here. Quickly through Latowski. Wow,
and there's Philip Dreis coming. Now we have the 3 wide.
Yeah, almost 3 wide as Latowski, well, he keeps the race lead now. And well, Dina, that could have ended in tears. That was very, very close to basically taking out all 3 of your top drivers at the moment. That was a very risky move, and I gotta say, Thomas, I don't agree with going for that move. That was way too risky there.
I have to say that was the right answer to having Attila Dina attacking him right after the first lap. So Latkovsky has to show Dina he is now, how can I say that? He's now the alpha driver here. It's his dominance, it's his territory, and if you dare to fight Latkovsky, he will be able to fight back in Mutkurve, and I think that's just a message. It's not about racing, it's about a message here.
It could be. There's always a psychological element in motorsports, you know. Now, Dina's going to be scared, like pretty much every lap. If he ends up passing Latowski again and Donga Ho gets back to the race lead, he's always going to be looking in his mirrors, okay, where's he going to send the move? Because Latowski has shown that he doesn't care that, you know, it's Bravery Corner, it's one of the most dangerous portions of the racetrack. He's still potentially going to send it.
And no, you know what? Attila finds himself on Dottinger Höhe directly behind Latkovsky, and he knows Philip Dreis is behind him. So what option does he have? He needs to flee. He needs to attack Latkovsky. And on the other hand, now in his mind is, oh god, this crazy dude will attack me again.
Yeah, potentially. So yeah, this race is coming along quite nicely, isn't it? These 3 guys giving us a little bit of a show at the very front. Latowski, Dina, and of course Dreis. Luciano Vitvo is just a handful of seconds behind this. You know, given the way the strategy might work out, and if these guys struggle towards the end, then maybe, just maybe, the likes of Vitvote can get himself in. I don't think Kliska's probably a little bit too far back to get himself involved at the end of this race, pending any major issue. But yeah, I'm super excited for what's to come. We've still got a long way to go. We're onto the Dunkerhöhe once again here, and you can see Latowski's going to be a little bit of a sitting duck here. He's going to have 2 cars coming up on him very, very rapidly towards the end of this straight. You can see that Stina just closing in, just getting bigger and bigger.
He needs to defend the inside line, otherwise you always almost lose the position in Antonius Buche, just because it's such a long distance you travel to Antonius Buche, and the inside line is... Oh, there's a little touch at that point! Oh, come on!
Oh,
that was even more scary than the overtake and the Bravery corner.
Yeah, that's the highest speed portion of this circuit coming down through there. That was close.
There was another message, I would say.
Yeah, that's got to be the response, isn't it? Oh, yeah. Drace into the back of Latowski for P2 there. They both stay on circuit, but that was a little bit of a shove there from Drace, giving Latowski the hurry up.
I'm not quite sure if Drace really touched him on purpose, or if Latowski was just caught on surprise and he was braking a little bit earlier than everyone else, so probably that was the thing. Especially for Philipp Drace, you need to be this classic Michael Jackson meme. You have to pull out the popcorn and just sit and wait, because obviously those 2 guys showed in front, they are crazy. They would try everything they can, and this race is so long. We have still 39 minutes to go, and if they kill each other, you're free to go for the win.
Exactly. I did say, oh, what's happened to Drace? What's happened to Drace? Because he's down in P5 now.
Oh, he's gone. Philipp Drace is gone. No. He's on 5th.
Yeah, he is in 5th place. What happened though? That's what I'm asking. He must have had a problem somewhere through the first sector of the lap. So the front 3 cars are now just the front duo.
But the car looks good.
Yeah, the car does look okay, so it mustn't have been a major issue, but however, a lot of lost time for Philipp Drace on the order of about 6 seconds.
So again, another commentator's curse from my side, right?
Yeah. Yeah, stop cursing the drivers here, Thomas.
Okay,
it's not working out.
So who we want to take out next?
Don't even.
No, we don't.
Don't even start that.
No, we don't. Do that. So now Drace has to fight back. He has Petr Bliska right in front of him. Then he has to close the gap towards Luciano Vitvote, and finally Luciano Vitvote is not able to keep the distance between him and Latowski. He lost again 1 second.
Yep. However, you know, this is just the prelude to everything. This is, you know, drivers just trying to figure out each other at this stage. It's not really fighting for the track position. It's trying to get in each other's heads, like you mentioned, with the psychology of it. Of course, there's an element of typically you'd like to be behind because of the fuel numbers, but you know, this is, you know, whenever these guys go side by side, that's not going to be side by side for the race win. You know, it will be on a final lap, but we're still over 35 minutes away. So it's all just sizing each other up.
I'm asking myself how fast they are really going. Are they really able to save enough fuel?
Well, what were our qualifying lap times? We did 6-minute 30s, right?
Yeah, it was 6:30.
So last lap was 6:35 from Dina.
Oh wow! And it was still nearly a second faster than Latowski's.
Yeah. So yeah, well, off the pace cars to the qualifying, but then again, you kind of expect that to, in terms of race pace. Here comes Latowski. Is this going to be another move in towards Bravey? Yeah. It looks like it is. Drawing himself alongside to the inside. And Zina, how does he handle this? Does he just back out? Yeah, he completely backs out.
And look, Latowski hits the corner perfectly.
Yeah. That is incredible, but it's helped somewhat because Dina obviously didn't want to go side by side through there. He probably lifted off. He probably even tapped the brake a little bit just to let him through. But again, that's the only reason why he's done that is that we're still over half the race to go. He wouldn't do that on the final lap.
Yeah, but now put yourself in Attela's shoes. So you're fast enough. Both drivers have enough pace to just catch up from a little mistake. So why not try to force Latowski now in a mistake, especially in this corner? So you could just stay a little bit longer than the last 2 laps on the throttle. You could show him, this time we go side by side, and then you back off in the very last second, and maybe Latowski is surprised and loses and crashes into the wall, and you're like, okay, now I'm rid of you and I can drive wherever we want.
While we have a little bit of a break for the race lead, we have the battle for P6 going on between Leonard Carton and Yuval Rosen. So these guys, well, they've been fighting since basically the start of the race, this group of drivers. It's been great stuff back here. So we've been focusing on the race lead for the past while, but these guys have still been at it and still getting up in each other's faces. I have to wonder though what's going to be the end result in this one, because they can fight all they like on the first half of the race here, but when it comes to the final couple of laps, well, it might ending in tears amongst all of these drivers. So it's the old saying in racing, isn't it? It's you must get to the finish. To finish first you must finish.
So for everyone who's in the chat, I can only recommend to be in the Traxion chat, because I really do love all the polls they pull out, and now the question is, who's going to come out on top? Dina, Nikola Latkovsky, Wittwert, or other? And I'm not quite sure. I will vote for other.
Yeah, other. Well, you don't have that much confidence in the top 3.
No, right now they are just pulling too much crazy moves, honestly.
Well, I mean, Vivo is 3 seconds behind it, so if Latowski and Dina do have an issue, then I think he's enough behind that he's able to get through it unscathed. Depends where they are on the circuit, but onto the Donghe once again. So Dinya, well, he's within that second, 0.7 of a second, so he will have a chance towards the end of the straight here. It always worries me when we see those two go side by side, because they are not giving each other that much room, shall we say. They're giving each other enough room, but it's just the minimum required. As we see Dina, okay, he's going to angle to which side does he pick here? Does he pick left-hand side, right-hand side, or does he not go for it at all? He does not move an inch towards the inside there, in towards the final couple of corners. So Dina taking things relatively calm, which is, you can say, a bit of a change for Dina. He likes to get himself involved, just like this, between Yuval Rosen and...
side by side.
Yuval Rosen and Sebastian Reeh. So that was Sebastian Reeh getting himself past there up into P7.
Sebastian Reeh has a very good day today. I mean, he's always being around the midfield, and to some kind now into 2022, he keeps on improving every race, and for now he sits in P7 on the Nordschleife, and I'm really happy for him, since he not always has a good race, and so for now it's just awesome.
Here's a look towards the back of the field, just to give these guys a little bit of love. Marius Zabda in the middle of a sandwich for 16th place at the moment. He's got Nick Schmenck ahead of him, with Enzo Filipao in behind as well. And as much as we like to give all the love to the front couple of positions, there are other drivers in this race further down that have their own goals here in this race, which might not necessarily be finish towards the top. Of course, that's the ideal world for everyone, but it's not. Sometimes it's not a realistic option for some of them. Some of them don't want to hear that. There's some drivers that want to win every single race, no matter if they're fast compared to their competitors or not. But everyone has their own goals in these races, and for Sebastian Reeh, right now it's hold on to P7, which he's doing rather well.
That's an incredible camera perspective for this part of the track, and Yuval Rosen was so close all the time to Sebastian Reeh, which means to the car in front, like it was Sebastian Reeh, you need to stick to your braking points. Don't even think about taking a secure line. It's impossible, and now Yuval Rosen is going for a move at Adenauer Forst. But
it was a little luck,
quickly
wasn't it?
Backs out because in the end, at the left kink, he was not able to really bring his car side by side to Sebastian Reeh, which is incredibly risky. And now we are going towards Kallenhardt, and maybe here's the chance. But both cars are going a little bit wide.
No, yeah, it's just not going to happen through that section, unfortunately, for Yuval Rosen. He'll have to try somewhere else. These cars, in some instances, have been quite tail-happy with getting the back end out. That's just going to get worse and worse as this race goes on, as those tyres start to go away from the drivers. Of course, they are GT3 cars, therefore you do have traction control. However, there's still the potential to have yourself a little bit of an embarrassing spin in these cars. It's not an absolute lifesaver as it would be in some other cars or in some other different circumstances.
I'm curious if someone already turned on the traction control a little bit higher.
Yeah.
Because I mean, we are at half of the race, and we are at lap 5. So the tires are really destroyed already, and they still have half an hour to go.
Yeah, it's a big issue, of course. Keeping those tires in relatively good condition towards the end. It's going to be a very big struggle to do that. The tire wear is sometimes quite aggressive here, especially at the Nordschleife. So it might end up being a battle at the front. Also, with who saved the tires the best. So it's who saved the fuel, who saved the tires. That's why this is such a strategic race, even though we don't have any planned stops. Of course, drivers might still come down in if they're really struggling.
Attila is closing the gap a little bit towards Carousel, and there's another thing I certainly saw is that Luciano Whitworth is closing the gap by 1 second, so it seems the leaders are backing off a little bit from their pace. So it seems like they were fighting pretty hard the first few laps, and now they have to save the fuel, they have to save the tires, which bring Luciano Whitworth back into game. I mean, first of all, he was fighting the first sector with the Leonard Carton, but then Leonard Carton stopped fighting. He had a little mistake, went back into the field, and now Whitworth has basically free drive. So the possibility to win this race is very much there.
Yeah, he has been slowly but surely working on that gap, hasn't he? It is coming down a little bit. It's not a significant amount by any means, but he's keeping himself in contention, which is all that you can really do here. All of this is just waiting for that final lap. That's how races like this are usually run at the Nordschleife. At least I tend to find, no matter what simulator you use sometimes, no matter if it's on RaceRoom or iRacing or whatever sim that you decide to choose, usually the races go like this, where we have a pretty chaotic start, everyone trying to get themselves track position, and then it's save, keep yourself in that front group, and then it's going to be crazy in the final lap.
Now you can see there's no craziness left over. They're just doing what they have to do, turn by turn by turn by turn by turn.
Can be quite relaxing for some reason in some of those cockpits. Sometimes you just get into a zone, you get yourself tunnel visions, and you just focus on every single apex, and then sometimes that can be a mistake because you might not see a car that's spun on the middle of the circuit, but the thing is you're just always looking at these apexes and blanking everything else out, and all of a sudden you have a car right there and you go straight into them. So it's it's always an issue. I mean, we talk about it more when we do like very long endurance races and things like that, but it can happen here as well when you're focusing so hard on trying to not hit a barrier on the Nordschleife. It happens like that as well, not from fatigue, but from just focus, like very hard focus. But again, Dina, he's going to be a little bit closer this time around, coming down the straight, so I wouldn't be surprised if he angles his way towards Drever's left-hand side, but he does not yet. Dina is playing the mind games, he's playing the fuel games as well. He wants to have a bit more of a comfortable buffer at the end of this race so that he can end up pushing that a little bit harder in the final lap.
That was a clever move from Attila Dina. I don't think he could have done that. When they are now approaching Hohenrhein-Chicane side by side, or can they really manage it? Number 18 gets his car in front, and then he gets tapped from behind. That is what usually happens here. If you can't sort yourself out, you get a little tap, and I think there is damage now to the suspension of number 18, which is Yuval Rosen here, because he planked in on an awkward angle, and you can see it. The car is just done.
Yeah, he's really struggling to keep that car on circuit coming through the first couple of corners there. So it might be the fact that Sebastian Reeh will be able to regain his position here up into P7. And yeah, there's damage to that Rosen car for sure. He pushed so wide on the exit of the corner there. So I'd be very surprised if he's able to get himself around this circuit in one piece, let alone multiple times before the end of the race. So he had a pretty clean last couple of corners there, but it seems like that car is certainly not performing as it was before that incident. Through this fast right-hander, keeps the car stable, fair enough. Sebastian Reeh all the way out into the grass, keeps hold of it though.
But you mostly had problems with right-handers, so the problems should start now. Left-handers were always a thing for him. It was always easy, but now look, he struggles to get the car around Schwedenkreuz. He needs to get into the curb, and still he kinda stays alive. While Sebastian Reeh is now fighting with Sinan Gunay, who feels like...
Oh no, it's Salo. Salo got himself passed, actually. It's hard to tell with the liveries, but because we do struggle a little bit here because everyone's in not in the same livery, but in very similar liveries. You can tell by the different colours how the drivers, which way the drivers are. But there's Salo. He did manage to get himself past Sebastian Reeh in that instance. So up one position, the Finnish driver. I like talking about Finnish drivers in sim racing. I mean, they're great in motorsports in general as well, and it's great to see them have representatives here in sim racing as well. They have a lot of national pride as well with the whole racing deal. So it's great to see them getting themselves involved. And there he is, Rasmus Salo, getting himself stuck in. Of course, not for prizes at the moment because the prizes only extend down to the top 3. So this is more about bragging rights back here more than anything else.
When I was seeing him, I thought maybe we can have a driver camera from Lucas Wollering, who injured himself yesterday, and he was claiming, all right, he can only drive with his left arm.
Oh, he's out of the race.
Yeah,
so
but he's out of the race already. I think I was kind of brave to say I'm driving a Nordschleife race from 1 hour with just one arm. That would be, if he would manage it, he would be a legend. But honestly, don't overuse your health just for sim racing. I mean, even though it's esports, you can prove yourself, but in the end, if things go wrong, you will probably never do it again.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, yeah, it's sometimes you can injure yourself in sim racing. Like I've seen professional drivers actually have problems with their direct drive wheel. So if you're unfamiliar, direct drive wheel tends to be quite an expensive wheel. It's lots more force going in through your hands, and it is enough to do damage sometimes. If you have a crash into the wall and the steering snaps, then you can hurt your fingers, you can hurt your wrists. And I've seen it happen in top level competitions as well, and the driver was streaming at the time, and they just go, ouch. Probably a bit stronger term, stronger word than ouch, but yeah, it certainly is a problem, and you just have to be very, very careful. Which is why there's some series, after the event sometimes where everyone crashes into each other as a joke at the end of sim races. Some leagues actually ban that because they know they have the people with direct drive wheels that, if they aren't expecting it, they can hurt themselves.
Did you notice how Leonard Carton was just tipping his nose while going through the bravery corner? Most of the time you say if people touch the nose just a little bit, it's a sign of being nervous. And I cannot believe that there is this instinct in you that let you leave your wheel with just one hand going through the bravery corner. I would not do that. I would not do that.
Yeah, crazy. I mean, yeah, I struggle to go around here with two hands, let alone one. So it's a crazy situation. But you see the battle going on here is fantastic with these guys, Leonard Carton, Philip Drace, all both fighting out. This is for P5, by the way. If you're unable to see the scoring tower on the left-hand side there, it's again not for prize-paying positions. However, it might end up being. If the top two have an accident, this battle might matter for prizes at the end of the day if that happens.
Right now it seems like Latkovsky can get a little bit of a gap. It's around 1 second, 1.5 seconds. So for Attiladina it becomes even more difficult to get back into this necessary slipstream. and he needs to really now push forward, because every time he misses the slipstream on Döttinger Höhe, his race will just get more and more difficult.
It will be, but he's come from 1.2 seconds back before. We saw that at the end of the first lap. He was 1.2 seconds back. He was still able to get there. So any more than that, you're sort of starting to risk it. You see, he's up to 1.3 now. So, big moment on the exit of the corner.
Oh, and Whitford as well. So my theory about having the tires gone seems to be proven here.
Yeah, it does seem to be the case, and Dina is slow coming down the straight as well. He's actually losing time right now to Latowski coming towards the end of the Döttinger. So it's a big issue for Dina. He can't afford to lose the slipstream here, otherwise he's going to be in big trouble, and he'll gift the race win away to Latowski. And well, Leonard Carton, this is the battle for P5. He's basically pushing the driver of Philip Drace down the Döttinger Höhe, bump drafting. You only see this in NASCAR with the super speedway races, but apparently...
But it's an oval. You don't want to have that in Hohenrhein, right?
I mean, it seems like it was effective. I mean, it is a thing that you can do. It's quite risky, because if you hit the back of the car ahead of you in the wrong place, then that means that you're going to have a very big incident. However, if Drace and Carton want to work together here, that is certainly allowed. I mean, it's a couple of seconds, it's about 4 seconds to Petr Pliska ahead for P4. So that might be the task that they're looking at right now, those two.
They are really calm about their position. You could see it. Leonard Carton didn't try to be overly aggressive. He didn't try to make a psychological move on Philip Drace. So that Drace maybe is forced into a mistake. No, he just bump drafts Drace, accepts his fate that they are stuck behind each other. Maybe it's what you said, that they work together. So maybe they switch positions sooner or later, and then Drace is the one who has to bump draft.
It could happen like that. We've Carton, well, he's obviously shown that he doesn't mind staying behind Drace at the moment. So whether or not that will be the case for the remaining 19 minutes is a different issue. I don't think it will be, but we'll just have to see. But you do have to make these sorts of alliances out there on track sometimes. You have to work together. Very careful.
There was quite a lot understeer from both drivers.
Yeah, Sebastian Reeh now looking to improve position over Yuval Rosen. Again, these guys have been stuck together like glue since the very start of this race. This whole entire group, and with Rosen, with Reeh, with Guinea a little bit further behind as well. These guys have been at it since the drop of the green flag. But for Sebastian Reeh, continuing to struggle a little bit to try and gain positions. Rasmus Salo looking from behind now. Of course, he was able to capitalize on the move and all the fighting going on ahead of him to get up in towards P7. But it can be quite tough to hold on to this.
Well, Yuval Rosen is still in front of Sebastian Reeh, even though they had this big crash at the beginning or at the end of the last lap. So, and we could see Yuval Rosen struggling to get his car through Hudson Bach. So maybe the damage wasn't that huge, and he was just not in his rhythm. Where we're left, right. I don't know what's going on. I really need to push. I need to hold my line. And then he came from one mistake to another. But right now,
oh, careful, Rosen. That was this is what I was talking about in qualifying. You cannot be so aggressive with these curbs, because they do that happens, and you get a big moment that you have to save.
And then right after that, you said you could see how the left side of the Mercedes AMG of Yuval Rosen just get up. If it falls back to the racetrack, it unsettles the car heavily.
Yeah, and of course when you have tires that have done almost 45 minutes of racing, it's even harder to try and get the car back under control. The drivers have my utmost respect for competing in this race, because it is one of the tougher ones that they'll do in their careers to this point, shall we say. Of course, we have to hope for bigger and better things later on. Of course, we're on board with Leonard Carton once again. He's continuing to do the bump drafting here, so he's continuing to push him along.
This is the right position.
Yeah, you don't want to do it up into bravery, do you?
No. I know. So let's have a little look on the gaps in front, and it seems like either Luciano Whitworth is managing his 3.7 seconds gap to Dina, or these two guys are still pushing a lot. Dina now closed his gap a little bit more. It was half a second in, I don't know, last 10 seconds, so it seems like Cody did a little mistake.
Yeah, possibly. So that just brings Dina back into it. He doesn't have to worry so much about losing the slipstream now. So he's in a more comfortable position. I still think Dina is in the better spot here. It feels weird to say because you would have thought, okay, you're leading the race. That's the best spot, right? Not necessarily. Because, again, like I said, you don't have the opportunity to fuel save as easily. You can still do it, of course, not impossible. It's just a matter of difficulty. And of course, Dina, he's now in the position that potentially on the final lap, he's the one getting the slipstream down the Dong Ho. So it works out in his favor in the end.
I think for Dina, there's another necessity to win this race for him, since he got yesterday a race ban from the DTM. I think he has to prove in his team that he has the skill to do it. He's not the guy who gets the race ban. He's the guy who's fast enough to win races like this.
Yeah, absolutely. And, well, it's a bit of a redemption arc, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's you know, you can have stuff like that happen. You know, you can misbehave and things like that. But the drivers, you know, to get out of that situation, they need to refocus.
Yeah. Sometimes you have just a bad race. Then the emotions get more tense and more tense with every single attack from the guy behind, and then sometimes you lose yourself and do stuff that brings you this penalty. You certainly didn't want it, but your esports career doesn't end at that point, and you need to get your head straight and find yourself in a race like this, which is so difficult. And now he needs to have, with this in mind, he needs to take the right decisions.
What's the decision this time coming down the Dong Ho? Is it more saving, or is it a move? It is going to be a move towards driver's left-hand side here with 14 minutes to go in the race. Side by side for the race lead, coming down the hill towards the very end of the lap. They get close on the entry into the S's section, but Latowski is able to hold on for now. He slams on the anchors into the final corner and keeps himself ahead. That was a small luck there for Dina, but not something that resulted in a pass. Meanwhile, further back, you got Carson and Drace still doing their thing.
Wow! If I would have a clock that that's measuring my pulse right now, you would see it was drastically increasing. I didn't believe they would survive that. Latkovsky showed again that he has the confidence to take the win for himself, but still there's, I think, at least 2, if not 3 laps to go.
Yeah, we're close, aren't we? Because I'm seeing on my more detailed statistics, it's technically 2 laps, but it's been fluctuating up and down.
2.01 lap, and since there is no 0.0 lap, that means another 20 kilometers, and that could lead into either an awkward fight for the lead, because no one wants to finish this race earlier because they want to win, but in the end they certainly don't want to take the next lap because they would run out of fuel. Yeah, exactly. So because even if we get to the line and there's 1 second after on the clock, we have to do the whole 6.5 minutes of racing. If you don't have the fuel, you know, okay, my race is done. I could just take the car aside and escape, because I know I will not finish the race. So yeah, it's a weird situation. We might see, if that is looking like it's going to happen, some drivers deciding, okay, I'm just going to come down in for the splash and dash. Let's just get the fuel to the end. Essentially, it might work out if everyone else runs out of fuel, right? So it's it's certainly a weird situation. It feels weird talking about it, to be honest, but it's a big unknown coming towards the end of this race. But Dina, of course, like I said before, he's had all of the opportunities to get that field number in the right place. So if there was someone that was going to have a problem, it probably wouldn't be him, right? I don't know. It's difficult to judge at that point. But you know, that's what I've been saying. You know, like he's been lifting off in the slipstream, so he's able to get that number in the right place. I'm pretty, you know. Yeah, I feel sick of talking about fuel at this point now. Yeah, I understand that. The question is always, how much does he have to push to keep the pace to Latkovsky, since there was 2 laps when he was over this 1 second margin. So there was not that much slipstream he had. So he really had to push to stay close to him.
Yeah, he really, really did. And well, we're looking at average lap times, 1:36, 1:37. So that's the time that you're looking at the top of your screen once they come across the line. So to be able to tell whether we have 1 lap to go, 2 laps to go, who knows at this point.
But there's another statistic that is incredible right now, and it's the consistency of both drivers. Both drivers in the lead have a consistency of 99%, which means their fastest and their slowest lap time. And the slowest lap time is measured by the start lap time, because that must be the slowest. It's between 3.7 seconds.
Oh no! Yuval Rosen, big moment! Big slide and a heavy impact with the inside wall. That was a solo car error as well. No one was anywhere near him. And, well, we said he was dealing with damage from a little bit earlier on. It might have finally come to bite him.
We should surely know now that he has damage.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's obvious now, isn't it? It's like, it looks like that Mercedes has been punched in the face.
There's not much left now. Now he needs to just keep his head up and stay alive. Nothing much to do.
So here's Dina. So 10 minutes left to go in this event now. So again, we're just looking at that time because, of course, you know, it all depends with regards to the laps we have remaining, what that timer says coming across the line to start the next lap. So we'll have to wait and see. I'm currently seeing about 1.5 laps left, so we can't have a half a lap, so it's going to be 2 laps to go at the line potentially. So we'll see exactly what that situation is. But for now, Dina, he's got to keep his heart rate down. He's got to, you know, do breathing exercises or whatever, because drivers are actually taught that. You know, they're taught to make sure that they breathe, make sure that they relax their body so that they can get the heart rate down and focus on the task at hand. You know, some of these, I'm not saying that these drivers necessarily have it, but a lot of the other drivers at the very top of sim racing, say F1 Esports and things like that, they have performance coaches, they have psychologists and sports psychologists, and it's, you know, all part of that. So you just have to calm yourself down, focus on the task, and then you find you can focus a little bit better once you're relaxed.
I don't know, is Bo Dixon still in the race? Yeah, he is. So Bo Dixon from VP Gaming, I know that they told their drivers things like they have to focus on meditation just to get this tool for yourself when you're really stressed, to decrease the heart rate, to keep your heads clear, and to find back in a race that is probably too difficult.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, that's Bo Dixon. So yeah, the production know what you talked about. You talk about Bo Dixon, they show Bo Dixon. There you go.
I guess they can hear us, right?
Yeah, of course they can hear us. I'd be worried if they. I would be worried if they can't hear us. To be honest, I'd be more worried. But here we go then. 8 minutes to go left on the clock. So in terms of those guys at the very front, they are coming towards the sort of the final portions of the lap here. There's Attila Dinia, who's done a fantastic job in terms of keeping that gap within a second. It's been a very mature drive from him today. And, coming down the Donga, it's going to be 8 minutes left to go. We'll see what it is at the line.
And if I would be Cody Latkovsky, I would not allow to go to let Dina now on the inside. I would now. This is the last lap. You really, really, really need to claim the inside line. It's so important.
Here we go then. We'll see what happens. What's the option for Attila Dinia towards driver's right-hand side this time around, trying to get that overlap down the hill.
And Cody did everything right. He just sent Dina a little bit wider out of Antonio's.
This will be 2 to go. This will be 2 laps to go here at this point. So they're going to cross the line with about 7 minutes left to go. It will be 2 laps before we get ourselves finished here, potentially. Of course, it depends on what the pace is like for the final lap, for this lap as well. It might end here if they have a 7-minute lap time. I don't think they are, obviously, because. I'm not. Completely ignore what I just said. Completely ignore what I just said. I am talking a whole load of.
There would be 30 seconds on it, and if you add now 30 seconds, they would be behind Yuval Rosen.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, completely ignore what I just said. I don't know what I'm talking about. So yeah, it'll be 2 laps to go here, and for Attila Dynia and Zlatovsky, that last lap can't come soon enough, can it?
Oh, I'm not quite sure. Actually, I'm quite excited to see them fighting. So I'm thinking about putting down my headset and just increase the race time. And suddenly some race time appeared.
I've seen it before where a driver has had such a big lead that they've actually slowed down to end the race early. I've seen that before.
That is not possible here.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, because it's too it's too close to. Well, I mean, obviously, Zlotowski's in the space to do it.
What could be possible? The only thing what could be possible is if they really see. All right, it could be difficult to manage the fuel, that Cody makes a bait, let Dina pass, go in slips into the box and try to refuel for one lap away. You know, whatever. Let's just see what happens. I don't think this drama becomes real in the end.
It would be a big call, wouldn't it? Because it's going to be very marginal, and the best races come out of marginal situations, doesn't it? Because you don't know who's made the right call, who's in the right position. So I'm certainly looking forward to the end of this race. We got coming up to 5 minutes to go, at least on the time. But like we said, we have to finish that final lap, so it's a little bit more than 5 minutes before we get ourselves the checkered flag out there. But these two have been the stars of the show so far. It's been these two at the front for a long time. Of course, they were joined very briefly by Philip Dries, but of course he must have made a mistake somewhere out there. He's still going, by the way. He's still in 6th place, so it's still going is Philip Dries. But he potentially might have been making this duo a trio.
But he never recovered.
Yeah.
So I expected him to pass Leonard Carton, to pass Pliska, and probably to at least fight against Luciano Wittwert. But if we now look, Dries is still having this little gap to Leonard Carton in front. And by the way, do you know what? Leonard Carton was always behind Dries, and they switched.
Yeah. So the switch happens, shall we say. They're still relatively close out there on circuit together, still within about 8.5 tenths of a second. But yeah, they're not pushing each other on the circuit anymore. At least I wouldn't have thought. Potentially you might on the next trip down the Dongaho, we never know. But for now, we are focusing on these top two drivers that have pretty much run away from the rest of the field. Of course, Vitvo is sitting there 4 seconds back, and I think he's been like 4 seconds back for like a good half an hour at this point. As here comes Attila Dynia, driver's right-hand side up towards Bravery Corner. He's trying to give Zlotowski some of his own medicine. He gets clear before they even turn into that fast left-hander. So Dynia gets himself ahead, and well, that changes things slightly, doesn't it?
I don't. I'm not sure if he did himself a favor, because Latkowski can now attack on Döttinger Höhe, and Dina is now the one who has the defend. I think you want the one in second place for the last lap. He's not hitting carousel right, and look how fast Latkowski now is. Now Dina will find himself probably getting attacked at Hohe Acht, and that's something you really don't want. Look, he's nervous. He's not holding the car on the track. Yeah,
getting up onto the curb as well. It's you could tell the pressure is really getting into these drivers now, because it's the final race. Everything's on the line, and they never usually have this situation where if you win everything. It's usually they have a points situation coming into this that they need to keep an eye on. But just to remind everyone of the prizes, top prize, 2 VIP tickets to the 24-hour race at the Nürburgring for 2022 with the entry to the SX Lounge. We've also got prize for P2, which is a €450 coupon for simracingstore.com. And our third prize is the JBL Quantum 1 headset for the driver in 3rd place, which Bitvo is comfortably getting at this point.
Yeah, you can say that. Oh, Dries is fighting hard with his tires, and also his Carton in front. Oh, that was so close. I don't know what's the English word for Gegenpendler when the car is getting away and you're counter steering too early, and then the car flips again.
Well, it's like an overcorrection.
Yeah,
you've overcorrected the car when you slide in, and you have to try and fishtail it around. Yeah, it can happen, and sometimes it is the driver's fault that there's an overcorrection. So you're just overcorrecting each way, just trying to keep hold of it. Whereas the best idea might be just keep the wheel straight, and it'll sort itself out. But yeah, continuing on with these top two cars, we got a minute and a half left on the clock, not a minute and a half left in the race, as we know, potentially at the end of this one, as they head their way through the Gelsenkopf for the penultimate time. Latowski, what's he going to do in this instance, though? Because we might have to do this again on the final lap. Latowski, does he want to stick behind? Does he want to remain in second place, make sure he's in second place at the start of the final lap, so that he then potentially will have an opportunity to make a pass at this same portion of circuit a little bit later on? You can see he's flashing the lights. You know what that means, Thomas. You know what that means. Yeah. It's I just want to get inside your head. And Latowski, well, he's pulling out all the tricks in the book at the moment through those final couple of corners. Dinia leads, Latowski second place. We don't know if it's going to be that order the next time they head their way across the line. The start of the final lap is now.
Oh man, Latowski has so much to do now. He needs to really put up the pressure. Still, we are looking at Philipp Dreis, and it doesn't look like he really wants to attack Leonard Carton. He leaves enough space so both can brake. We saw both struggling at some certain corners.
Oh, what's happened to Wittvoet? Because he's down in P4. What's happened to Wittvoet?
Wittvoet is pitting, and that tells me we could run in a fuel drama.
Yeah, we could. Wittvoet's gone for the call. It's a big call as well. He doesn't think he can make it to the end. Does this panic Latowski at this point? Because he spent the most of this race at the front, not able to fuel save behind anyone. It was the exact same situation with Wittvoet. He was on his own in that third place. He didn't have anyone to save off of either. So I have to wonder, if there's a similar situation going on here. Wittvoet goes for the call. He comes down in. It's in American football terms, it's a Hail Mary event. It's just that one big gamble to try and win this race. Let's see if it pays off.
Latowski now, I don't know what the correct strategy is here right now. Maybe to try to push now Dina here downwards the Fuchsröhre, so he really can have his nose in front. So I think right from what I saw, it seems like defending Antonio Spuche is way easier with worn tires than it should be. So you really need to find a position where you can attack earlier than Döttinger Höhe.
Yep, so we had Luciano Wittvoet comes in, came down towards the pit lane. He's in 7th place. That's where he came out. So he's gambling that 3rd place finish. He's gambling that JBL1 headset to potentially go for the big gamble at the very end of this event. Latowski. I'm hearing a lift. I mean, that's a normal lifting point coming through that corner, but he's just got to nurse that car all the way to the end of the race. Wittvoet thinks that we cannot get to the end, or at least he cannot get to the end on fuel. We have to see whether Dina and Latowski can get to the end.
Yeah, but maybe Wittvoet was just pushing really tough, and he tried to... how can I say it? He tried to keep it up and hope that he can get into the slipstream, and to some point he mismanaged his fuel, and actually there was never really a problem for everyone else, because they were keep having the fuel management.
Yeah, potentially. They might be running on fumes at the end of this race. They might be trying to coast it across the line. That's potentially the situation, but it might be a red herring, as we would say. It might be like a false thing that Wittvoet had to come down in because he was dealing with a separate issue, like you said. So lots of things to think about here as we see these two, Dina and Latowski. It's great to see this be this close at the end of an hour of racing at the Nordschleife, the toughest circuit that you can think of, at the end of this season in the final race. This is probably the most highly pressured situation that Dina and Latowski have been in their sim racing career so far. And Latowski, well, he's a world champion in another game. He's used to dealing with the pressure, but when it comes to a final lap move, it is so tough.
Did you see how long both drivers were on the brakes? They're really fighting with their tires. They just try to be as fast as possible. I cannot believe how difficult it must be to just drive as close as possible, as Latkovsky right now does to Attila Dina. Last time when they went around the carousel, Dina missed it. So it was not the perfect entry for both drivers.
Yeah, I still think Latkovsky's in the best spot here. I'm being completely honest, he can get the slipstream down the Nürburgring. As long as the fuel's okay, he is in the best spot. Dina, this is going to be one of the best defensive drives I've ever seen in my sim racing career if Dina is able to hold on to this. It's not going to be impossible by any means, but it requires something absolutely special, and it may even require a mistake from Latkovsky as well.
Now I'm starting thinking, how can you really defend Latkovsky? I think for when there's really a move for Hohenrhein, then think what happens first. You have this little left king, it doesn't matter. You have this right corner where you can really try to sneak to the inside. Then you have this right and left, so you want to stay on the left side. So is it really the move that you push your opponent Antonius Bucher to the outside, or is it now for the last lap the way that you let him sneak into the inside of Antonius Bucher and then get rid of him in the very last corner?
I'm trying to keep my heart rate down at this point. This is absolutely fantastic between these two. This is what we dreamed of coming towards the end of this event, to have this fight between these two for the championship win at this point. We covered it in the pre-show. The driver that wins this race wins the championship. They win that experience to go to the Nordschleife for the 2022 Nürburgring 24 Hours, and it's this is the top prize on the line. It's championship glory up for grabs here between Dina and Latkovsky.
Very defensive lines from both drivers. Still, Dina didn't look too well from the small carousel. Now watch the understeer. That is the most important thing. Attila Dina had a good run to Schwalbenschwanz.
Here we go then, for the final time down the Nürburgring. Does Latkovsky have the legs to get himself towards the end of this race? You can see the weaving already from Attila Dina. He's trying to break the slipstream, but I think it's going to be in vain. Look at how close that Latkovsky's getting at this point. He's got to go for glory. He's got to go for the race win and the championship win now. Which way does he go? Driver's right-hand side, coming towards the end of the race now, side by side for the championship win. Down the hill here at the Nordschleife, down into the SS section. Dina has held on to it. Dina has held on. Can he hold on for the final corner as well? Latkovsky's all over him, coming through this entire section. Just one more corner to go. Latkovsky looks for it. The inside wasn't open, and a mega defense from Attila Dina. Dina takes the race win. He is the NGK Sparkplugs Esports Cup champion in an incredible finish.
Wow, Latkovsky really tried to position his car in Hohenrhein chicane so he could counter-attack on the very last corner. It was kind of what I was saying, but he was thinking the same thought from the attacker perspective, and it was such great thinking. I really loved it, and Attila Dina was very receptive of it. He was super attentive and made it close the gap. Same situation now with Sinan Gunay on position 12.
Yep, here we go. Well, let's commentate on it as well. Guinea looking for the for P11 of Steph Kramer's. Kramer's able to keep himself ahead for now. What a finish we've had here at the Nürburgring Nordschleife. An incredible performance from both Dina and Latkovsky. I've got to give credit to both of them because that was incredible. That could have ended in a big crash towards the ends there. They were able to keep it respectful, and what a finish we had. I doubted Dina. I should not have doubted Dina. He was able to hold on there. I thought that leading, coming on towards the Nürburgring with the car that close behind you, you're surely not going to lead in towards the checkered flag, but Dina was able to get it. He's our champion.
Wow. just wow. I have to admit, both drivers would deserve the VIP tickets. Just bring them both together to the Nordschleife. Bring both to the Nordschleife, honestly.
That was absolutely incredible. Of course, we have to wait for the rest of the drivers to come across the line here. There we go. There's the official results. It was just over 2.5 tenths of a second between Dina and Latkovsky at the very end. You can't get that much closer than that. Closer than that in your side-by-side across the line. Pliska, third place. By the way, Vip vote wasn't the right call, as it turns out.
No.
He's in P7, so Pliska is able to get his JBL1 headset. Alhosky getting himself his €450 vouchers for the sim racing store as well. But Dinya getting that top prize, the experience at the Nürburgring, to go and take VIP treatment at the Nürburgring 24 Hours, which is a fantastic prize indeed, and very, very well deserved after that one. Oh, I need to relax.
Breathe. All right. I think we have our guest back in the set. Let ask him. Let him ask. How did you feel about the race?
Oh my God. It was a super thrilling race. I enjoyed it a lot of fighting. And at the end, the fight between Dina and Latkowski. Wow! Also, my pulse is like, wow, I was just like,
I could see you, and I saw your expressions.
I'm still shaking.
Crazy, yeah. But I love the race. Yeah, as I said, super thrilling, great race, and wow, and you are talking in now for 1 hour. You must be super exhausted, or?
I'm still shaking after that slightly. It's the adrenaline is so good, and I can't imagine what it was like for the drivers.
Yeah,
that must have been the craziest amount of pressure that they've ever had in their sim racing careers. That was incredible. I need to take a bit of a breather. We'll be actively getting our interview ready with the drivers, but Andreas, that you couldn't have imagined a better end to the season.
Yeah. This is absolutely the best race of all the races that I saw, and I think we picked up the right track with Nordschleife, and the finish was amazing. It was the whole race was amazing. All this P7 fighting, and some crashes, also some crashes, but at the end, super thrilling, great race. Thank you, everybody, that all the cars keep on the track and we don't have any crashes. As you said at the beginning, we was a little bit afraid that something can happen at the beginning, but I think it was a super fair, super nice race. Yeah.
We do have our interviews ready with Attila Dinya first up, and Dinya, that was incredible. Congratulations! I will leave Andreas to show you the prize with first place, 2 VIP tickets to the Nürburgring 24-hour event, including the SX Lounge access as well. That was an incredible finish. Just take me through it from a driver's perspective, because that was very stressful for us to watch. I can't imagine how stressful it was for you. We do have to wait for a couple of moments to get Attila Dinya. Yeah, we just have to go through these technical issues. I can forgive it a little bit, because
honestly, if you have to defend this hard fight, you could probably forget to unmute yourself.
So Attila, do you have a copy? Can you hear me? And can we hear you? That's more of the issue. Yeah, we can't hear him at the moment.
Maybe he's muted.
I don't know.
We will just have to wait and see, I suppose. There we go. We got everything clear. We got everything fine during the race, and everything falls apart afterwards. But yeah, just talking about Dinya. Like I said, I felt like he was not going to be able to defend that at all, because we saw so many times the driver get past coming at the end of the Dong Ho, but he was able to keep ahead. That incredible skill. Yeah,
but his strategy was totally right. He's waiting. He's just trying, and then he goes all in, and then he takes the lead. But I think it's also very hard for him to define Latkowski at the end, because he was so close, and at the finish lap we all see that he can defend him, but at the end I think also tires, some damages at the car, and at the end he takes it all, so he's a winner. Yeah.
It was quite the right decision to go for the attack on the penultimate lap.
We're third time lucky. Dinya, can you hear us, and can we hear you?
I can hear you. Can you guys hear me?
Hey, there we go. We got it. We got him here. Attilia, my question remains the same. How stressful was that at the end?
Incredibly stressful. Actually, the whole race was really exhausting. I don't know if you can see it. I'm really sweaty. The Nordschleife, as everyone knows, is very demanding, especially with the direct drive wheel. And if you're racing so closely, yeah, it was really hard. But in the end, the strategy worked. Strategy was stay behind them, save some fuel, and in the last few laps attack and hopefully get him and defend. And in the end, it all worked out. It was very close, but yeah, lucky to be here.
Yeah, and it was great racing as well. It was very respectful between you two, because there were so many times when you were going side by side at the end of the straight that you could have made contact with each other and you could have both been out of the race. So we're very thankful that you were able to keep it together. I don't know if you have any questions, Thomas or Andreas. I just want to kind of leave him to enjoy his enjoy his race win.
Yeah, congratulations again from NGK Sparkplug, and I don't know if you see it, but this. Your first place, 2 tickets for the 24-hour race. Congratulations to that. And finally, maybe we can meet at the 24-hour race for a personal chat, and take a rest. Enjoy your evening, and all the best. Great race again. Congratulations for first place.
Thank you.
Yeah, and we'll leave you go and celebrate and try and get your heart rate down if it was super high. Thank you very much for joining us, Attilia. It was very enjoyable.
Thank you, guys.
So that was Attilia Digne, our race winner and therefore championship winner for the NGK Sparkplugs Esports Cup. And we'll get ourselves our P2 driver, Latovsky, up in just a little bit. But I mean, if you're Latovsky, before we get him on here, what can you do in that situation? You went for your shot. It didn't work. It must be heartbreaking.
Yeah, difficult. Probably he should have searched for an opportunity before Döttinger Höhe. That it could have been done. Maybe his read was wrong.
Yeah.
So maybe he expected this battle going on always through Antonius Buche, and then he suddenly realized the tires were too bad to really try it. So you needed to you had to do it on some other positions.
Yeah, potentially. I believe we potentially might have Latovsky going to be coming in for his interview in perhaps a little bit. He is ready. Okay, so we can speak to Cody.
Straight line speed to pass dinner, but
hello, Cody. Yeah, we can hear you now. There we go. So everything is fine.
Yeah, for sure.
So there's your second place. You got your second place, €450 voucher for the simracingstore.com. But I think we both know, Cody, that you wanted that race win. Just take me through that final few corners, basically.
Well, it was pretty much a back and forth race until that point. So I was looking at my tires every single lap. I was wondering if they're gonna hold, and getting to that last corner before the Döttinger Höhe, Dinner actually tried to pull a little trick. He actually slowed down before the corner leading onto Döttinger Höhe. I saw that and I took off as well. So I knew if I could stay close enough on the back straight, I could pass him with enough of a slingshot. But I made a bit of a mistake when I was making my race setup. I put too much camber, and that means that my tire wear was a little bit more than his, most likely. So I didn't have enough momentum to quite get side by side with him coming down the straight. But yeah, I fought him all the way. I didn't give him like an easy win. If I had to, I would have gone for the last corner, but he did a really good job of covering that off. So yeah, really well done to him. And I think at the end of the day, it would have been either me or him, and I think he deserves it 100% the win.
Oh, he's so nice.
Yeah.
It's so nice. There's no fighting where it's like, oh, it should have been me. It should have, been whatever. You're a very nice guy.
But I didn't give him an easy win. That's the guy who sends it 2 times in the bravery corner. Where we were like, oh God, you both won't finish. We thought.
Yeah, just take me through those risky moves into like really fast, dangerous corners. So what was the logic?
Well, what I on the first and second lap was that I was doing a lot better. I was driving a lot quicker in the second half of the entire lap. So I was thinking, my logic was if I could get in front of Dinner and somehow get a whole string of corners together that I'm right on it without any mistakes, I could maybe pull enough of a gap to get up the slipstream range. But that happened just once, and after that, I started making a little bit too many mistakes. The tire wear started coming back to me, and there was really nothing I could do. So all I was trying to do was, the first time was to try and pull away. The second time was more like, let's just have some fun while we're at it. And then I had another few thoughts about overtaking him. So maybe we could get a third person to catch up and maybe make a bit of a battle. So I could possibly pull away if that was the case. But yeah, that was pretty much it. There wasn't much more I could have done. Like I said, my setup was a little bit off for this race, so there's something to learn from that. But yeah, I just had a lot of fun. I could go and do another 60-minute race right now.
Well, I'm glad he can. I can't take another 60 minutes of the commentary. But Andreas, you've got some words for our second place finisher.
Yeah, Cody, congratulations also from NGK Spark Plugs for the 450 euro sim racing store voucher. Great race, really great race. Wow, I was super thrilling race. Also this fighting with Attila Dina and I'm just, it's amazing. He's super reflective and really knows what to do for the next race. And wow, very professional. Congratulations again from NGK Spark Plug. I hope you enjoyed our Esports Cup.
Yeah, thank you very much, Thomas. I'm grateful to be here. I'm happy for the opportunity to race against such good guys. And yeah, I haven't been on this sim for too long, but I'm glad I'm starting to get the hang of it. So I look forward to some more competitions and hopefully for some even better races.
Yeah, cool.
There we go. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
It's been great. But it's so nice. Like, I can't get over how nice he is. He's just like, everything's fine. He's whatever.
Damn, it's only the second place. It's just.
I want drama. I want drivers calling each other out.
Yeah, but you could feel he was heartbroken.
Yeah,
you
of course.
There's
always going to be an element of that after a race as tough as that.
Yep.
When you're always looking in the mirrors, you're always trying to fight one-on-one. It's a very personal thing as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because there was no one else involved in that. Of course, we had Drace involved early on, but then he fell off. So it was just those two up against each other. It's just a battle of the minds. Like, it was crazy. Yeah, it's fantastic stuff. Yeah. We might be getting our interview with our third place finisher. I can't remember who it was at this point because I know
it was so intense.
Yeah, because I saw Vivo come down in.
I can tell you
it was
Pliska. Okay. We were so focused on the top two that we didn't realize we came third. But at least I didn't. I have a bad memory compared to you guys.
But Pliska probably did everything right. He just kept his head down, was not in any trouble, and did everything he could to hold his pace.
Okay, so we're getting ready. So Petr Pliska, it's great to speak to you finally because I've commented on you so many times that I haven't actually gotten to speak to you on an interview. There is your prize, your JBL Quantum headset for finishing.
Thank you very much.
Place. Yeah, it's been fantastic. Your race was a little bit different to the other two that we interviewed because you're kind of out of the running for podium positions until we saw Luciano Wittvogt go for an interesting call, shall we say, with coming down towards the pit lane. I'm not sure if there was a separate issue with him, but how did your race go? Because obviously we were focusing more towards the front two battling with each other.
Yeah, for sure. So I would say it was a little bit annoying, but you know, I'm like 50% happy and 50% not, because the pace was good, not but not like the front guys. I think Attila and Cody was completely on another level, and I think I also had been lucky because the race did a mistake. Luciano, I don't know why he did a pit stop, so I don't know. I did everything right, but I wasn't fast like the other guys.
Yeah, how tough was it to do a race like this? Because it's 60 minutes at the Nordschleife, which if you do endurance races in other sims, that's maybe not so much. But here in RaceRoom, it is quite a task, especially when you're concerned about the fuel. How did you approach that whole fuel situation? Because obviously we saw drivers struggle with it today.
Yeah, I started to save fuel since the beginning of the race. So when there were missing 20 minutes, I called push, and yeah, it was annoying because I was alone. But you can't never underestimate Nordschleife, because just one little mistakes and you can be out of the race.
Yeah, it did end up coming towards that for a couple of drivers getting themselves a little bit wrong and going out into the grass and finding a barrier. But Andreas, a message for our third place finisher of Petr.
I'm wondering if it's possible for you to have a drink afterwards, or are your arms? Can you move your arms after I don't know, what was it, nine rounds in Nordschleife?
Yeah.
Lost count of it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really tough.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah. So congratulations again from NGK Spark Plugs to the third place, the JBL Quantum headset. And yeah, happy that you joined our Esports Cup. Thanks again, and
thank you very much.
I wish you a great evening. So yeah, it was a lot of fun to watch you racing. Yeah,
it was a pleasure for me. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right, thank you very much. And well, we got all of our interviews done with. Now we just have to wrap things up. It's
can
quickly coming to a close. Yeah, can we start again? Can we have that finish again, please? Yeah, that's that was crazy stuff at the end. I mean, coming into this, of course, the driver's feeling the pressure. It's the last race of the season. Everything happens in this race, but have it end in the way it did was a gift. Not only the drivers, but obviously to us and to everyone watching as well. I think everyone enjoyed that. And not to get too emotional here, that's what sim racing's about. Like, it's the excitement of that sort of racing at the end of a race where you have no idea who's going to win. It's just a 1v1 battle, and someone comes out on top. And it's the joy that we get out of motorsports as well, like regular motorsports in the real world. It's the exact same thing. So this is why I hate to get up on my soapbox here and try and try and make a point, but this is why we enjoy sim racing so much. It's because it can deliver that excitement. This is why it's such a great esport.
Honestly,
so good.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, it's so I've had a lot of fun here. Thomas, you had a lot of fun?
Sure. It was. I mean, I said it in the beginning. We have so seldomly a race on Nordschleife, and I would like to see that more often. So thank you from my side that you choose that track for the finals. And there's just one question left for me. Will we see that again?
We are working on some new stuff. Really, yeah. And now this is totally proven that we will do it again. I don't know which setup we will choose for the next one, but I think it was very successful. It was a lot of fun. Thank you all for participating, for all the sim racers, and I like it a lot, and we have a lot of fun, and we will do it again. And we are working on some new stuff, as I said, and yeah. We keep you posted on Instagram and on Facebook, and have a look at our channels, and then you will see what's planned next. And thank you very much, everyone.
Yeah, thank you for everyone involved. I
Thank
mean,
you.
me and Thomas, you're on the casting desk. You got Andreas Mai there as well from NGK Spark Plugs. Yeah, thank you very much to everyone in the production team there, sitting somewhere over there. You can't turn the camera around and congratulate them, but those guys have been absolutely on fire with regards to this entire production, and of course the drivers as well. The drivers are some of the most important people. You know, it couldn't happen without them and giving us the show. But unfortunately, we do have to end. Thank you very much for joining us on the multiple YouTube streams that we have going. We hope to be back here doing this again in the not too distant future, but for now, we will have to say at the end of a crazy race here at the Nürburgring, good night.